Welcome back, everybody. So today we're going to start our next 2-hop series. This series is going to focus on Citra and Amarillo hops. Now, the first 20 beers in my 2-hop series was Cascade Centennial. So we're going to move on. As I said, this one is batch 1 of this series, Citra Amarillo. So this is a small batch, 1.25 gallons going into the carboy. We are using 2 pounds, 8 ounces of 2-row. For the hop schedule, 0.25 ounces of Citra at 60 minutes, 0.25 ounces of Amarillo at 10 minutes, 0.25 ounces of Citra at 5 minutes. Dry hop 3 days into fermentation, 0.25 ounces of each Citra and Amarillo. This did start out at 16 bricks and it ended at 7 bricks. This one, I wanted to do it backwards. So this one is using S04 yeast instead of US05 yeast. I will be making the US05 version soon, but I wanted to make this, let it go a month, and then make the next one, just in case we want to adjust anything. So this was bottled on 121, just over a month old, 7.77% ABV. Let's go ahead and get this thing open and see what we get. Now it's not a smash beer, obviously. It's only using one malt, and that's how we started out our first series with Centennial and Cascade. We'll start out with one malt. We'll add to it. We'll play with the yeasts and see what we like best. Now, this is using one of the Yakima Valley hop caps. They are not a sponsor. They sent me, if you didn't see the hop box opening, I will post it, but they sent me a can of caps, so I decided to use them. Good hiss, this is using 4 small pearl tablets at bottling. I bottle right out of the Mr. Beer fermenters directly in here, so we could see some hop particles trube in one of these, as the end is going to have some. Good hiss off this first one, so that's a good sign. I'm going to stop there because there is a whole bunch of stuff in there. Head is coming up, small medium bubbles, not even a quarter finger of head. What head I do have is white. As far as the color, oh yes, I got a lot of hop particles in there. And that's one thing, it seems like Citra, how they make the pellets, really, obviously they're not going to dissolve, but they do spread apart. And I've been seeing that a lot in Citra beers that I made. I've talked about it before. I have the 2-gallon Mr. Beer and I have the 1.5 glass ones. And the glass ones always seem to plug when I use Citra hops. And this one, I'm guessing, didn't plug because I do have a lot floating in there. Color, almost a golden yellow in color. It's actually darker than I thought it would be. Lots of bubbles coming up, kind of hazy, but I can see the outline of the light box, which S04 is going to be a low flocculation, and it's going to let stuff float in the beer. You could use it for a New England, but that's for a different day. If it holds true, we should get some more citrus out of this, as in the Cascade Centennial that I did make with S04. I got more of a lemon citrus out of it. Let's go ahead and smell. It does have some fruitiness, but that like lemon citrus is mixed in there. Maybe a little bit of grain is in there. But yeah, that fruit quality and lemon citrus mix well together. Then you get a little bit of grain, like a toasted malt, lightly toasted malt. But other than that, I'm not picking anything up. I don't want to say it smells like Citra, as it's using more Citra than it is Amarillo, but it does kind of come off as, okay, this is a Citra hop beer. So let's go ahead and taste. Very, very smooth. You get a little bit of that sweet fruit up front, citrus in the middle, goes down, fruit citrus, more, I would say, almost like a lemon citrus rind, a little bit more bitterness in the aftertaste or as your palate warms up to it. Yeah, it almost seems like there's a little too much bitterness. Okay, that makes sense now that I look at that. So, Beersmith, if you're new to this channel, I do print everything off on Beersmith. And what I don't like about Beersmith, I wish they would add what the ABV they recommend or they think it should be along with the IBUs. Obviously, the IBUs would be on point technically if you change the alpha acid in your recipe of that hop. So for this, it's saying this is 87.8 IBUs, and it tastes like it. Big in the back to the aftertaste, a big bitterness is there. Obviously, it's carved. Yeah, you get that sweet fruit, then it goes back into a lemon citrus. Then in the back, bitterness, aftertaste, a lot of bitterness. Like I said, almost like a lemon zest, like a lemon citrus zest is what I get. And for those IBUs, that's pretty much what it is. Is it balanced? No. I think it needs a little bit more malt. I would like to see a touch more sweetness and a touch more malty backbone on this one, just because those IBUs are so high. Usually my rule of thumb for making my first, if I'm playing around with recipes, is I equate my IBUs to the original gravity. So if you're looking at a 1064 beer, I would try and hit my IBUs at that 64. And this obviously is way high. So yeah, if they want a 1053 starting gravity, so yeah, 53 IBUs, somewhere around that, and we're blowing that out of the water by 30. So yeah, it's not as balanced. I think that rule of thumb, doing the gravity to the IBUs, will help balance your beers out at the beginning. And I think I'll do a series on that where I try and hit that and just see if we go up some more, down some more, or what that does. But yeah, overall, I think for the first one, definitely a good taste. It almost tastes like that lemon citrus is being added by the S04, but I'm not 100% yet because we haven't made the US05 version. But yeah, as of right now, good beer, a little on the hoppy side, not as balanced as I would like it, but I knew that going into it. So if you want to see some more homebrew videos, check them out over here. And until next time, happy brewing.